What a fun thing to talk about, and that is miracles. When is the last time you experienced a miracle? Can you put that in the comments if you have the ability to do so? What is the last miracle you experienced? Because Miracles with Mommy Linda is an opportunity for us to share unbelievable stories that are happening in our lives. You know, I have a daughter, Gina. She's in Greece right now, serving with a ministry there where she is sharing about Jesus to Afghan refugees. And she always, I'm really bad about posting pictures on social media. She's always like, whatever you do, don't put this picture out because this person could die or somebody will kill them because I've shared Jesus with them and they've accepted Jesus. And I think, oh my gosh, here in America, all you got to do is raise your hand, right? Well, anyway, she was out with somebody this was last night. She called me. She had somebody from Italy, somebody from Argentina, somebody from France, they're like 14 different countries. And she said they got on the topic of miracles. And so all of these people were talking about miracles. And she said she was just kind of sitting there quiet. And then all of a sudden she started sharing, and she was telling some of our stories about blind eyes opening and people walking that had been paralyzed. And she said it was so amazing because their mouths were just dropped open, but she was telling the story in English, and then somebody was translating it into French for the person from France, and I don't even know what else. She said there were 3 different languages that they were transferring it in, so there was this delayed reaction from everybody in the room whenever they got to hear what the actual miracle was. But by the time she called me, I thought she had been out partying because she was on such a high. But you know what? There is no high like the Most High, right? And so when you're talking about miracles and things she said, and Mommy Linda, this is funny too. She said, we prayed. She said, we prayed for 45 minutes. She said, and I started praying, and I ended up praying in tongues. And she said, and then I realized everybody there was praying in tongues. She said, and then when I was done, I realized, no, nobody else was praying in tongues. They were all praying in their own language. Some were praying in French, some were praying in Hebrew, some were praying in Greek, some were praying in all the different languages. So it was just such an interesting phone call. But I want to talk to you tonight about a miracle that just happened 2 days ago. But I want to give you a little bit of background on this. I have an amazingly gorgeous wedding ring. I'm not being prideful, but I'm just saying. This is not my starter ring. A lot of people have starter husbands. I had a starter wedding ring. And if you want to know the horrible, horrible things that I went through in my marriage, you can find it in our first book called Peanut Butter, Crackers, and Flip-Flops. If you're out there right now and you're in a hot mess of a marriage, I've been there. But you know what? I'm an overcomer. And that's what the Bible teaches us that we are. We are overcomers. And so after I overcame the situation that I had in my marriage, one of the many things that we did, one of them was what do you call that? We renewed our vows when you do a little thing. We went to this little cute place in Helen, Georgia, a little chapel, and renewed our vows. And so I upgraded my wedding ring. So I have this beautiful, beautiful wedding ring. It's one of a kind, and we had it custom made at this place called Andrew's Jewelers, which is not even in existence anymore. And when I was on the choir tour, this is the second book you'll have to get, to Choir of Angels, and I'm pretty sure the story of the wedding ring is in here. We were in the middle of, well, let's just say it, a demonic manifestation. Where we had one of the children in the choir that was literally manifesting. The ambulance was called. This is in the middle of, I was at Mother Emanuel in Charleston, South Carolina, which is where Dylan Roof came in and shot and killed their staff. Do you guys remember that? That's the church we were at. We actually changed our clothes in the room where the murders took place. And so there was this huge spiritual battle in that church. That's a whole nother story. You need to get the book and read that. I should tell that story sometime on here. But literally at the invitation, while the pastor is calling all of the people up front, we have a huge demonic manifestation to the point that one of the children is flipping around, speaking things out, and somebody called the ambulance. The stretchers were coming up, and right about the time they came up, everything stopped. Okay, so suffice it to say, after that, it was quite a lot of hoopla, a lot of weird things happening. And by the time, which was about 3 hours later, I got back on. I was the bus driver and the speaker, and I got back on the bus, and my ring caught on my shirt, my T-shirt. And I looked down, and my diamond was gone. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. This church is, I was like, this place is a hot mess, which I remember telling to the pastor. And I was like, how in the world does Satan, which what a stupid question now that I think about it. How in the world does Satan think he can walk up in the middle of this church and or demons? How do demons think they can do that? And I'll never forget the pastor's wife pulled me aside and said, honey, Satan himself walked in here 4 years ago and shot and killed our staff. She said, we've been dealing with spiritual warfare in this particular building and in this church for a long, long time. So anyways, I get in the bus and I'm like, my diamond is gone. So I go back in the church and I retrace my steps, crawling around like a dog on the ground, pushing my hands in the carpet, looking where the manifestation happened, tracing back and I never, ever found my diamond. Never found it. So, and not a lot of people know this, so you're gonna be on the inside edition. I went back to get the estimate to replace my diamond, and it was like $9,475,000. I don't remember what it was, but it might as well have been $9 million because I was like, I'm not doing that. So I got a $75 piece of glass. So my beautiful, beautiful diamond ring that everybody's like, oh, that's so gorgeous. I never tell anybody, but I'm just telling y'all. Well, 2 days ago, starting a week ago, I lost my wedding ring and I couldn't find it anywhere. Now that has happened before, so that's not really tragic. I've done that before, but somebody always comes up with it. For example, one of the last times I lost it, one of my daughters had it and she put it in her room and I just happened to go into her room for something. And I'd asked everybody, have you seen my ring? Have you seen my ring? Have you seen my ring? Nobody's seen my ring. And I go up and it's on her dresser. And I'm like, so-and-so's Merlanda. I'll tell who it is. I'm like, Merlanda, why do you have my wedding ring? She was like, oh, I found it. And I was like, but I've been asking for it for a week and a half. Why didn't you tell me you had it? Oh, because I'm saving it. I was like, you're saving it? What are you saving it for? She said, I'm going to give it to you for Mother's Day. I said, oh, and that was like 6 months away, right? Mother's Day. I was like, Merlanda, give me that ring. So, of course, when I lost my ring, the very first thing I thought was that little snotty-nosed girl is probably saving it for a Christmas present or something. Who knows, right? So I go to Merlanda. Merlanda, do you have my ring? No, nobody has my ring. For a week and a half, I'm asking everybody, who has my ring? Who has my ring? Who has my ring? And finally, I told my husband, I was like, I think I really, really have lost it this time. I can't find it anywhere. And so I was in the bathroom when I said that, and all of a sudden I said, Lord, where is my wedding ring? And immediately the Holy Spirit said, go over and look in the corner underneath the nightstand in the corner beside that little box that's there. And I was like, well, that's the stupidest place in the world. Why in the world would it be there? And then all of a sudden, you know what I always tell you guys about being being quick to obey, even when you don't fully understand? I was like, I'm going over there. So I walk over there, I pull the curtain back, and I look beside the box in the corner where I would have never looked in a million years. And guess what was there? My wedding ring. And I came out and I told David, I was like, David, I asked God where my wedding ring was, and he told me. He looks back at me and he says, well, you should have done that a long time ago. That, my friends, is a miracle. You know what the miracle is? Part of the miracle is that the Holy Spirit told me where it was. Do you think the Holy Spirit knew where my wedding ring was the whole time? I think so. But do you believe that it took me 10 days to ask the Lord where my ring was? Is that not ridiculous? What in your life do you need and you need an answer for? And you've asked everybody else. You may have even gone to your daughter who took it before and you've asked, or you may have even gone to the bank and asked for it. What is it in your life that you need a miracle for, but you have not asked the Lord? The Holy Spirit is sitting there waiting for you to ask. He knows everything. He sees everything. And all he wants is for you to reach out to him. Don't forget, the way that we get our miracles in our life is we love him and we love him. I can't wait to share the next one with you.